What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another movie review. I'm Chase Lee, and the movie I want to take a look at right now is Emma. Now, this one comes from Focus Features. It is directed by Autumn de Wilde. I hope I pronounced that correctly. But this one stars Anya Taylor Joy as the title character, Emma, living in England in the 1800s. She's a part of a wealthy family, and it seems like just right off the bat of the story, she has a lot of friends and a lot of family around her, and there's something about her that causes people to go to her for advice. And she seems very confident, maybe even a little self-centered, but she seems like the type of person that knows what she wants. And when people ask, like, what should I do in this situation, she tells them bluntly to their face. And sometimes it might go for the goods, the good route, the bad route, whatever. But she always gives a straight answer, and people trust her. They want her advice, and so that's kind of what we're dealing with here. And so a lot of her friends come to her for love advice, and whose hand they should pick to marry and everything. And maybe even down the line, she starts to fall in love with people, and she's going to take her own advice. And so that's what we're kind of dealing with plot-wise, very straightforward stuff. But a couple things before I get into this. One, I thought the trailers looked pretty solid. It looked like a great mix of comedy and drama, and I like these kind of period films, so I was down for it. And the second thing is, this is my first ever Jane Austen adaptation. I don't read because I have a mind of a 5-year-old. No, I just don't read books. It's not my thing. I need to read more. Trust me, I do know that. I'm very aware. But if you're coming to this review and hoping that maybe I was a hardcore book fan of this particular book, or even Jane Austen's other, books, that's not me. I'm just going to review this as a movie and tell you what I thought about it and go from there. So if I forget names or whatever, it's not, if you're a Jane Austen fan, you comment down below, like, what an idiot. Trust me, I get it. I wouldn't want someone to butcher, one of my favorite books either. So, okay. So all that said, I like this movie quite a bit. It was a very pleasant watch. It was a delightful movie, eloquent, and it just puts a smile on your face, especially in these hard times right now. It's just that type of uplifting movie that gets your spirits a little higher than they are right now. And then when you leave the theater, you just kind of have a smile on your face, and you just kind of want to be in that world and hang out with these characters as long as possible, because it does transport you to that time very well. And you just have a fun time with them. And I think that's the best way to describe it. So I like this movie quite a bit. So to get the obvious out of the way, production design, costuming, gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful stuff. When you're dealing with stuff in this time period with wealthy families, it's going to have this kind of eye-popping visual, mask on it. Like, every single scene is just gorgeous to look at. You can find stuff in each scene that's just like, oh wow, I didn't even notice that before. That, like, intricacy and detail, and just setting it up with the appropriate furniture, clothing, and silverware, chairs, paintings, whatever. Everything looked really just great to look at. And so even if you didn't find this movie interesting, or if you found it boring, at least, like, there's some great visual stuff going on here. And the cinematography definitely doesn't hide anything. It's not shy about it. It showcases its whole budget on screen, and that is totally awesome in my opinion. I hate when movies hide what they're trying to shoot. It's like, no, show it off. You got all this gorgeous scenery and buildings and costumes. Show it off. And it definitely sets yourself into that universe, into this world, and you're with these people, and it feels authentic. Just from the way they dress and from where they're at, whether it be like a little shop, a house, or a ballroom, and just everything about it feels like you are literally transported through time. Gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. So all that out of the way, the very obvious when you're dealing with a period film, or period piece or whatever. Sorry guys, my mind is not all there today, but I really liked what the director did, Autumn de Wilde. Once again, I think I butchered that, but I really like the way this film kind of grows with its characters. So what I mean by that is, at the beginning of the film, we have this kind of like lightness to it. We have a, kind of breath of fresh air with its comedy and the way it approaches its characters and its scenes. There's just a lightness to it. It doesn't feel like it's ever bogged down, and it's just having fun with it. And like these characters are just interacting and they're having fun with each other. So you're having fun with them and you want to hang out with them. It's got a dry sense of humor. This humor comes out of nowhere, but it's consistent with the entire like tone of the film. Case in point, Bill Nighy, he's in this and he's paranoid about like sickness and diseases and stuff. And so anytime when like he would just sit in a scene and his daughter is talking to him, Emma, he would literally just stare off into space. And we're like, what is he thinking? And then he'll just be like, do you feel that draft? It's just, and then he like is paranoid. He's got to like find the draft and close the window. But it's just stuff like that catches you off guard and just does put a smile on your face. And it's unexpected humor, but it's definitely consistent with the overall tone of the film. But it's not to say that there's not, these really kind of meaty, dramatic moments that really change the pace of the film and really kind of just showcases to you that these are real people going through real situations. Like, yeah, they had a fun time, they're joking around, but they're going through some complicated stuff right now. In this film, it switches on you, and it does it with such ease, and it's just so fluid. And, even with the story and the characters and how they grow and they're dealing with these kind of like really mature situations, the score changes, the lighting changes, the cinematography changes, the pace of the film changes. It's a little bit more laid back, and it's not as springy and as peppy as the kind of what happened before it. It's just everything just grows with it, and that's what great storytelling is that this director is like, listen, these characters are growing, they're hitting walls, they're hitting bumps, they're dealing with these really complicated messes that they have that's, just love in general. It changes the whole state of the film. And it still has that sense of humor to it, but it's also showing us that they're going through these real life issues, and that's where the complexity comes in, and that's what life is like sometimes. Sometimes you're laughing one moment, and sometimes you're crying the next moment. And I thought this film did a great job in kind of transitioning to that point where these characters are at that stage in their life, or at least in the story. And then it kind of just trails off and goes back into more of the sense of humor that it's acquired. But it's still great to see it kind of progress and grow. One of my favorite aspects about the film is the score. The score I would say the first half of the film, it's very, very poppy, just very, whimsical, and just it gets the blood flowing, and it kind of is a great parallel to the headspace of the characters, a great parallel to the humor. It's really fluffy type of orchestral music. And then when we get to the more serious stuff, it slows down a little bit. There's some scenes where there's no sound at all. It gets us into, like I said, the headspace of the characters and what they're feeling at that moment, because sometimes you don't want to have this soundtrack playing in your head because everything's going well. Sometimes you just want to be alone and you want to think on your thoughts and you just want to hear the silence around you. And once again, that's the genius of the direction of this film and the overall vision. It just grows with the characters. It's just smart. It's just smart filmmaking. And then one last thing before I move on to the performances, which actually accompany what I'm about to say, is that this is a well-written movie. It's exactly what I expected. It's just people having fun with each other. We're getting to see friendships kind of form and grow. We're getting to see relationships form, break off, maybe grow with someone else. We're getting to see just kind of this, human dynamic between all these people and how they interact with their friends versus their loved ones and everything. It's just a really great romantic comedy. And, the comedy is sharp. The characters, they grow appropriately. The story is interesting, at least it was for me. And this is a 2-hour film. And I was never bored by it because, I was always looking at something visually, whether it be a costume change or location change. I was always invested in terms of what Emma was going to do and what her friends were going to do. I was into it. And then speaking of the comedy and the dialogue, you got to have great performances, right? And I really do think that everyone is just in tune to their characters and the way their personalities are, and they're just on it, man. Like first, Bill Nighy, hilarious. Just he was the comedic relief throughout the entire movie, and even towards the end, you almost had a tear in your eye because of where he sees his daughter at that point in the story. It's really great stuff. Mia Goth is really great. She has a couple of moments where she shines even more than like Anya Taylor Joy, and she really gets to, but she's just really sweet and innocent, and you just want the best for her. You want her to find that love, and you're just behind her 1000%. And then all the guys and all the other girls that are involved in like this really tight circle of friends, they are really just, they're mesmerizing. You feel like they are their characters in this time frame. But the main star, the title character, Anya Taylor Joy. I really like this character. You know, at the beginning, she's very confident. She's giving advice to her friends. Like, she's just having a good time. She might be a little cocky every now and then, but that's just her personality. But there is a lightness to her. She might be a little rough around the edges at first, but there is a lightness to her. And you ended up kind of falling in love with her and her friends and family towards the end of the movie because you just wanted to see her interact with people, help them out, or just goof around with them. But what I liked about it was when she got to that point where maybe she was falling in love, her body was in shock. And there are several scenes where she has like the deer in the headlights moment where people are calling her out for maybe not using her own advice or, you know, not seeing what's actually in front of her. And she kind of has this moment where she starts to break a little bit. Like her shield of confidence is showing cracks. And that's what makes her character more human. There's a scene where I'll just say her nose bleeds. And that's what you need to know about her character right there, is that she is very confident on the outside, but on the inside, she's scared like the rest of us when it comes to big decisions and maybe choosing someone to love or making a big financial decision or whatever. She starts to show cracks. And not only is that on the page with her character, but it's also in the performance, in her eyes and her face, and the way she kind of is taken back by her confidence cracking a little bit. It's all in the facial acting. It's great stuff. But she's just a great character to follow. And then by the end, like I said, I just wanted to hang out with these characters a little bit more, and she definitely sold that just with her performance. Guys, I don't know what else to say about this movie. I probably messed up on a lot of stuff, or I probably missed a lot of stuff. I apologize. If you're a huge Jane Austen fan and you were hoping for a great review, I hope I gave that to you. If you were looking for a good movie to see, I would suggest this one. If you like period piece films, or you like these kind of like lavish, wealthy period piece films, I think this is right up your alley. It's just a pleasant, delightful experience. And I implore you to check it out if you're into these types of movies, or if you just want to watch something that's good-hearted and will lift your spirits right up. So I'm going to give Emma, period, because that's how it is on the title and on IMDb. Emma, period, is, I'm going to give it a B. It is a good film, and I wouldn't mind checking it back out for a rewatch, and that's very rare for me because I'm just busy with other stuff, so there you go. Take that for what you will. So that will do it for this review, guys. Please let me know down below what you thought of Emma, whether you liked it, whether you hated it. Call me out on things if I messed up on names or whatever, but I tried my best. But please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video, subscribe to my podcast feed, do what you got to do to follow around so you can get up to date on whenever I review whatever I catch up on. So that will do it for this review, guys. I'm Chase Lee, and tune in next time for whatever I review next. I will see you guys later.